just did. All right, so what we're going to be discussing today is decentering men and learning what woman empowerment is and how to be independent. As I've stated so many times, and I think another reason why I'm doing this video is because I was like so harsh, and I was like so harsh on like women in general, and like just always describing how women were this, how women were bad, how women did this and this, but I never really did woman empowerment. I always did like the opposite of trying to, like, I wouldn't say break a woman down, obviously, because they're weaker than men, but I would say just pointing out the bad things they do, right? Because we do need to know that for society. You might need to know that when you go to the airport. You might need to know that when you go to the dental office, you know? So I don't know who my audience is. I don't know who's out there watching, but I would expect everyone to already know these things that I'm saying already about women. You know, if you haven't already seen that for yourself. So the purpose of this video is not to basically change or disguise what women do. They still are bad for a reason, obviously, because of what Eve did in the Bible. We know this already. We're not going to dispute this or counter anything like that. That's not what this video is going to be about today. This video is strictly going to be about woman empowerment, and also we're going to bring in the reasons that women do act this way. Why would you see a woman having an attitude? Why would you see a woman being this way? Why would you see a woman, you know, always angry? You know, there's always a reason behind anything in life. So that's what we're going to discuss today. So yeah, a couple of the reasons why women would be pretty upset and, you know, have an attitude or even do the terrible things they do to kids at times and others is simply because of hormones. You know, how I would love to switch to testosterone right now and trade out my estrogen for testosterone. You know, I would do that in a blink of an eye if it was possible, but women have what's called estrogen. So those hormones are always going to fluctuate, especially when it's that time of the month. Yes, I think some can tell that already. So let's start with hormones first. That's the first thing. Our hormones are obviously different than a man. Any woman lying and saying she has testosterone is a big liar. You know, we all know the domination of women. They have estrogen, you know, so that's probably why they do get antsy at times and feisty, because unless you're a man, you would be able to understand, okay, my hormones are way completely different than yours. So that's just another thing, you know, that I wanted to point out there as to why women do have these attitudes. We're really going to try to center the video about men and how men kind of play a role and factor into how women lead to their detriment at times and their demise, and, you know, don't feel as good. And it kind of just plays an emotional downplay on them at times whenever some men, not all, you know, do this. So hormones is one. Secondly, it could be because of, you know, men. You know, the two main things that I feel like that are affecting women right now are their hormones. Some women don't know how to control emotions. They're really, really horrible at that, and they don't know that that's a big hindrance to your business, how you can succeed. Like, you're stopping your own self from progressing, you know, and sometimes they feel that's fine to stop their own selves from progressing, and they try to do that to others. So that's why I don't like sitting in a room full of women, because you have some women there that are evil and will try to make sure that you don't succeed. I will hinder your progress, because if I can hinder my progress, I can do that to anyone else. So those women that have the screwed mentalities that, like, you know, oh, I'm your mom, I could take you out of this world, that is crazy. That is postpartum depression talking to you. If you ever hear a woman say that to a child, call for CPS. That's a big deal. A woman should never be able to say, oh, you know, all of my 9 months and I can just take you out of this world. What is that insinuating? That you're going to kill your child? That you're going to kill this child? What does that mean? And this is why you see so many babysitters harming little vulnerable newborns, kids that don't even have shit to do with your life, you know, are not the cause of the case. They are not your problem for however many years you've been alive, 40, 30, 28 years. They are not your case. You have to understand that, or go to a psychiatrist to understand that, how that works, you know. So secondly, you know, is men, you know, and that's kind of like 90% of what we're going to discuss in this video. Men have a way of manipulating women with these top 4 things I'm going to say. Men obviously have access to a lot more wealth. They're wealthier, so they use money to manipulate women. Some women are so, I don't know what's wrong with their IQ, or some women literally believe the delusion, I gotta listen to my man. All growth and all prosperity comes from my man, you know? So you have those dumbass delusional women that, you know, get tangled up, you know, twisted up into that false fallacy that, wow, I'm never gonna have a roof over my head if I don't stay with him, you know, live with my husband. You know, so some men can literally try to, you know, torture women and say, oh, you're going to be homeless, you're nothing, you know, and try to hold that over a woman's head. Again, manipulation tactics by using the roof or the house that they're providing for their girlfriend or the house they're providing for their wife to make women serve them and make women, you know, give in to them, you know, with these things. The third one here is, you know, another way that men manipulate women is simply by lying. You know, you're literally using materialistic things to try to, you know, make this person gravitate to you. Like, for instance, you have women selling their bodies for cars, for luxury cars, some money, you know, or what else do they do there? Sell their body for rent money. You know, I've heard so many outrageous stories with women. But it all starts from the men not even teaching you how to go and get your own bag and get your own success. So that's 3 ways damn near a man is like using women and manipulating them. The third one is like men just trying, the fourth one is basically men just trying to threaten women and say, oh, I could leave your life right now and you'll be a single mom and deal with it all by yourself, you know, and that's basically what you see a lot with, you know, not all men, but mainly men of color. You get to get a taste of that, you know, that they'll be like, I don't need to be in this child's life, put me on child, you know, like that's the kind of crap that you see whenever it comes down to manipulation. And this is why we're discussing decentering men. As much as I get on women, I do have to get on men as well. You know, men play a part into women's lives drastically. I believe like for a certain period of time, all women believed in, all women had to listen to were men. You know, there was never such a thing as woman empowerment or going out by yourself and being independent. You know, it was always, and even now, you know, it's still hard to do woman empowerment when women keep proving themselves wrong. They keep doing shit that's wrong. You know, so it's hard for me to sit here and do woman empowerment when there's such toxic and evil people out there. But then again, I do have to also commend and clap for the 20% of the women out there that are nice and actually give a damn about you and are genuine, you know, and are definitely wifey material. There are some out there that are just nice. There's no catch to it. You know, they could care less. It's just having a happy lifestyle and moving on. You know, life is short. So that's one thing that I definitely did want to comment on. Decentering men, how do we do that? So obviously men have, you know, been in the workforce longer than a lot of women. But the one thing they do lack in is taking care of themselves. You know, when they get older, they always try to settle down when they reach those golden ages, right? Get a young wife. We see that so many times with actors, you know, movie directors, and etc. So that's not a lie, and we see that. So it's, to me, is like, obviously, you know, I wouldn't be making this video obviously if, you know, if we lived in the lifestyle where it was like men are still the primary caregivers here. They're the primary ones that have to go out and get a check, or you have some men that are working 2 jobs. You know, there was once upon a time where men had to work 2 jobs just to make ends meet, you know, but now you see so many men, they have their own businesses. They work when they want to. They could take 2 weeks off, come back and do their business on the 3rd week of the month or last week of the month and still make it, you know. So things have changed, things have evolved, obviously. So with that change being into effect, you know, it calls for women to not prioritize men as much, because you're showing us how you can just make it by yourself. If this was like olden days, obviously, or a different generation when, like I said, men were working 2-3 jobs at a time to make ends meet, then of course you do have to be that supporting factor for him. You do have to be there for him when he's not feeling good. You do have to make sure, obviously, the head of the household is doing okay, right? Because we don't have a head of a household or the man of the house. How are the bills going to get paid? How are we going to eat, right? So there was a time that people used to live that way, and it always relied on the man. So, but not in this present day and time. So this is why I do say women should start decentering men. Men are amazing people. You know, men did not sin in the Bible. Unfortunately, they had to exit the Garden of Eden due to Eve's action. So I'm not going to put that all on men. I'm not going to blame men for anything. This is not a blame game scenario. But this is essentially just stating that you stay controlled by a man, because men are very controlling. If you decide that you want to be controlled by a man, you're not going to live life. You know, you're always going to have someone telling you what to do. You're not going to be your own boss. You're not going to be free to do anything. So, and it depends on a case by case basis. Some men don't care. Some men don't care what you do. But I say decenter men simply because it leads to your peace of life, your peace of mind. Just like men having to work out and get a check, women are now doing that nowadays. And they're also having to be a single mom and take care of 4 kids. Make sure all 4 kids are caught up with their homework. Make sure all kids have gone to their vaccination appointments and gotten their physical examination. You know, so these are things, it's more of a harder task to care for a little child and then also care for an adult. So I just feel like, you know, it doesn't make sense, you know, and a lot of times women prioritize men more than themselves. Like, women are sacrificed so many things, and it's just useless at the times, you know, like, you have to be able to make yourself a priority. If you don't take care of yourself and you die, God forbid, those kids are going to find a way to make it for themselves. Life's just going to move on. He's probably going to go out and marry another wife, you know? So that's just how life, the cycle of life works. You have to be able to be self-sufficient, and not just that, but prioritize yourself. You know, men, they're fine, you know, they're good human beings. I'm not going to say anything or bash them, but I just feel like you know, literally, you know, like, this man has just, they get such a pass. Men in general, they always get a pass in life. You know, all you really need to be in life as a man is smart and have manners, and you'll be good. You have those 2 things, you know how to talk to people, your business will flourish. You will make it in life. You can hire a maid. But, you know, it sucks because, like, for women in a relationship or in a marriage, they're sacrificing their body, they're having this man's kids, they're doing all of these things, and sometimes it goes underappreciated, you know. And not even that, it's just no one can ever know the struggles that a woman has to go through and the emotional turmoil. As well as that, you know, I saw some concerning things that I guess in America it's normal for a man to ask for a husband scar or something like that, or a husband stitch up whenever a woman pushes out her kid. You know, they call it a husband something, and I'm like, really? So this is basically for the surgeon to make the vagina tighter so, you know, he can still enjoy pleasure. And I'm like, life is just always centered around men, and it's about time, woman, stop it. You know, you're not getting the risk to reward is not there. You know, this is why I'm single. There's a lot of women there that'll probably counter this and say, no, you lying, I love my man, he's done everything for me. There's women out there right now that's getting cheated on every day and looking like a damn fool. They look like a bastard right now because they allow their man to do them wrong, and that's really all they have. So that's a psychological abuse right there. And some men will do that to you and know you're worthless and know you're not anything and just tell you that, and then it's over with and it's done. So I don't plan to get married. If it happens by divine intervention, yay. If it doesn't, I'm not worried. But it's just like, it's not something I'm seeking. I sought after or anything like that. Like, self-love is so important, you know, and I saw my mom struggle with that. You know, she loved her kids a lot, but I don't think she showed herself that much love, and now I think she's realizing it. Like, we have to really stop putting these men on a pedestal. Life is evolving. A lot of men right now, if you talk to an average man right now, I'm pretty sure he'll say he's a CEO of a business, or he works on his own business, or he's created his own generational wealth for him and his family, right, at this age and time. So you cannot be a woman and be so centered around his success while you haven't built nothing for yourself, while you haven't secured anything for yourself. It's not a wise investment. It's not a wise idea. So yeah, I just don't see the glorification in men. They're really good manipulators, really big talkers, and some are evil, some are delusional, like some I just ignore them, because I'm like, they believe they literally gas themselves up to believe they're the best in the world, and no one's your God. God is still not showing his face right now. He's still in heaven. He's still watching all over us. So I don't think the ultimate decision or the ultimate person to run to whenever you're in any kind of problem is a man. I would run to God. I would get on my knees and pray to God. That's the first thing I would do if I'm ever going through any kind of hurdles in life. But you have some women that sell their bodies. You have some women that feel this is the last and ultimate person I can go to for some help, and that's just not how it works. So I do strongly believe that the only way to kind of revert the psychological abuse or emotional abuse that women have faced and struggled with men is to just be independent. Once you're independent, once you're paying your bills by yourself, once you're seeing how, wow, this is the way life goes, this is how life is, wow, I just paid a bill, wow, or wow, I just, washed the car by myself, or I just walked the dog, or I just took out the trash. Like, these are simple, basic things that men still can't do right now. These are things that, like, if you tell a man, well, why don't you stay with the kids for 2-3 weeks, and you can't do that, and you have a rebuttal for that, that's a big deal. There's some men that just only know how to, have intercourse, and that's all they want to do. Even if they're married, they don't care. They want to satisfy whatever their own needs are. And I do have to state that men have also done financial sacrifices as well. But everything goes based on a smart decision. Men are smart individuals. They're not kids. So when I always see a woman defending a man and running to his defense, you do not know what this man has going through his mind. You do not know what he has done. Men are very, very conniving as well. So that's just what it is. You have some men that just are not good in the house, but they're good outside. How the hell do you ask for something like that? When your wife just pushed out a baby, you're caring about pleasure in that instance. There was a woman from New York that literally said she got raped 1 hour after she just pushed her baby out because her husband was horny and wanted to have sex. Like, come on. I saw this, she actually said, she came on Judge Mathis and said it, and she always had like a problem with the son because it's just like, oh my God, I don't know if you're gonna act like your dad and like demand and boss me around and tell me what to do, because she just had such a horrific situation with her child's father in the hospital room. She doesn't even have 2 or 3 days to heal. He just, like she said, he raped her there, so it's crazy. And I think men are also psychotic human beings as well. The same way a woman is psychotic, the same way we say, oh, you need to go to the psych ward for a woman, men are the same way. A man can make you go crazy. I've seen that in several situations, especially if it's a woman that's vulnerable. She has a vulnerable mind. She probably doesn't have any money. She's probably coming from a different country. There is that room to manipulate the hell out of this woman, and then act like, and then when she's going through her damage control, when she's realizing she's been screwed up and this is what her narrative is, that's the point they want to be like, okay, you're on your own, bye, but you're the cause of this crap. You started this. So that's the thing with men. They always just find a way to get a pass with everything. Look at P. Diddy, look at Trump, that was arrested, and he's believes that he has done nothing wrong and he has the power to run this country again for 4 years. Come on. Is that not a crazy delusional belief? You know, like, you were arrested. You have a record on you. So I think that's just what women need to focus on. Focus on your peace and your life and enjoying your life. You know, I do see a lot of women on Instagram doing that, but sometimes it comes at the expense of selling their bodies. Sometimes it comes at the expense of being a sex worker, a stripper. Or it comes at the hands of your husband that's controlling you. You know, so I really don't even envy anyone that's married right now, because I don't know what they're going through. I don't know how the husband talks to her. I don't know what her actions, what her role is at the home. She's probably forced to be a stay-at-home mom. She's probably forced to push her kids out of her vagina, right? And not do the C-section. And she's probably forced to stay nowhere else but inside home. So that's why it's kind of scares me to get married to men. Men are very devious people. Like history has it. They always get what they want. It's always going to be them or nothing. And women don't provide a great name either. You know, they don't balance it out or prove anyone wrong, you know, unless you're like a licensed doctor, unless you're, you know, you show that in society. So that's just one thing for me. And it's like, I feel like men are the ones that are somewhat useless at times, you know, but because they have their muscles, because they don't have the estrogen hormones, you know, they're probably never ever going to be made to have that, right? They didn't sin in the Bible. We did, women did. So we have to always take that into account. There's a reason in Genesis, Eve did what she did, Adam didn't do what he did, and it's playing out in history now. I've accepted that a long time ago. But I just feel like centering your life around a man when he probably is not going to reciprocate that. Like, men are just going to be men at the end of the day. So let me know what you guys think down below. Are you guys single? Are you guys married? You know, what do you think about decentering men and moving on in a direction and showing yourself more self-love? Because a lot of times, at least 90% of marriages and in relationships, it's always the woman that has to sacrifice her time, sacrifice her body, and sometimes even sacrifice her own finances to make sure her kids are safe and good. You know, so yeah. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. Thank you.